Even though I don't like you, I don't want you to cry. And I have the land and sea, but it's lonely up here in the sky. Let me keep going.
That was great.
Sweet. I'm gonna have a drink of water. I had like 2 tiny bits of chocolate, and my mom was like, "You should not do that," and she was right, as usual. I know, it's so frustrating too. My mom and I are so much alike also, though. Like, we are both so forgetful. Like, I always joke that I can tell her the same joke every couple months and she'll laugh because she forgets it. Yeah. But sometimes I'm right, and that is gratifying, but she's probably right most of the time. My dad, however, is often wrong because he's so bad at paying attention to stuff. Like, I don't know about your dads, but do they ever like ask you about, like, they don't know the name of a friend that you've had since like 10 years or something?
Yeah.
Like
Or like something you're really into and they just botch the name every time.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times my dad has bought me Pokemon cards when I was a kid. He would always call it Pokemon.
That's so funny. Yeah.
I'd always be like, Dad, it's Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, okay, Charlie.
Yeah. Dads are funny. Do I need to sign in to something on here to be able to see stuff?
Are you part of the Facebook group?
I think possibly. I think I should be. I don't have the Wi-Fi, first of all. Okay. Yes. Okay. Let me go to Facebook. Reload. Okay. Oh, I changed my password recently. Okay, hang on. I just got a few, maybe like a month and a half ago, got a new manager, and she's super cool, but she's like wants all my passwords to everything, which makes sense, and I am very bad about having them, so I finally like put them in my very safe locked notes app. All right, got to call my mom.
We have a council meeting today, and I can't be there on this. I'm sending the link to the council so they can.
Oh, sweet.
Hi, this is Shannon. Leave a message.
Not helpful, Mom. How, I'm really bad at Facebook. Is it like my groups or is it my, I guess I don't know how to get to it.
Oh, the Facebook group?
Yeah. Is it a group or a page?
Like you're searching on Facebook like for somebody.
Okay.
And then type in
Oh wait, hang on. My mom's calling me back. Mama. Do you know
what
my
do you need?
Do you know my Facebook password?
Ava? Good God. I feel like I am constantly sending that to you.
I know. I have it. You're on speakerphone. I have it on my phone, so it's not a big deal. But I thought that I put it on my notes app, and I didn't, and I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. I mean, I can try to find it, or
Okay.
you can just reset
I'll just
it.
reset it then. Thank you.
Yep. Good luck.
Love
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, sorry, what am I searching for?
you're wanting to search for MVACCAK, and it should pop up as Military Veterans Arts Community.
There we go. Okay, I am not on it.
Yep, just join and I'll admit you in, and then you'll see Charlie Sears goes live.
Okay, sweet.
And then you just click that.
Sweet. And let me see how fast I can reset my password on here. Thank you.
And then after you do that, we will go over the workshop a little bit.
Sweet. Sounds good. Okay, change my password. Charging current password. That's why I'm changing it. Okay, there we go.
Andrea, she should give it to you. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get your text.
No, that's okay. Figured it out. I thought that I took the wrong turn. I thought I needed to turn before, but then I realized that it was the same.
Dodged a bullet too. My turn to take minutes, so I didn't have to do that this time. Now you just wait till the next time, right? Yeah. Yeah. Score. Yeah. I hate taking minutes. It's awful. Because not only is it bad when you're doing it, it's like you have to send it to everybody and they all review it. Right. And it's like, yeah, scholars and executives and stuff looking at it just like, do a lot of writing. Yeah.
Sorry about this. This is my crash course in Facebook happening right now. Come on, baby. I am Ava Earl. I am 17 years old, and I'm very, very happy to be here with you guys. And I am going to basically walk you through my songwriting workshop. I'm going to turn my volume down here because I'm echoing. And so I can see if you have any questions, feel free to give them to me live. I have a basic outline for what this is going to look like, but mostly I'm going to kind of go with the flow. And so if anyone has a specific direction or question, then I'm totally down to digress a little bit and talk about that. So the way that I write songs is, for the most part, I start with like an idea of inspiration. And so I think I asked you to come with one or two ideas of inspiration. And so if you have that, just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. If you're going to follow along with this, then I encourage you to write it down if you have that. And yeah, so I'm also going to use one of the songs that I've already written to kind of be an example throughout this of like how I go about doing things. And so in a few seconds, I will play that for you guys so that we can just like hear the song and then kind of walk through the steps of it. Oh, yay! Crystal, I'm very glad that your 9-year-old is watching. I actually teach youth workshops, so she is in my normal age range of songwriting workshops, and hopefully she can get something out of this too. So yeah, basically, like I said, I start with an idea of inspiration, and for this song that I'm going to show you guys, a lot of the times my ideas come from people and social situations, but sometimes, like right now, we might not be interacting with people as much as normal. And so if you ever are feeling a little like your well has run out on social interactions or you're just drained from that, I always turn to writing songs about books, and it can be fiction, nonfiction. Like it's a story that's already there, and you can interpret it and make it your own. And I think that's really cool. And that's kind of how I wrote this song, which is called Up Here in the Sky. And it's inspired by, I wrote it when I was a sophomore in high school. I'm a senior this year, so about 2 years ago. And we were reading the Iliad, which is, if you haven't read it, it's not my favorite book, so I don't necessarily recommend it. But the story is overall good. And more than that, it got me thinking about kind of how in the story there's, it's the Trojans or the Greeks or something. It was too long ago for me to really remember. But they're, fighting a battle, and the women are doing very, womanly things for the time period, like caring for the children and, watching their husbands, do stuff, and then the men are all in the war. And I was thinking about how the goddesses and the gods are not really segregated like that. Like, the goddesses are pretty, pardon my language, but they're pretty badass. And they're out there doing a bunch of cool stuff. So I was thinking, if I was writing the Iliad, I don't think that the goddesses would really be that invested in these, silly humans. They'd be off doing their own, cool stuff. And so that's kind of where this inspiration came from. And you can see that I totally took a story and just twisted it into whatever I wanted it to be. And, that's creative license right there. So, yeah, and I'm going to play the song now. And then after that, we'll kind of walk through how I then start to use chords and rhythm to, showcase whichever mood I'm hoping to deliver with my song. And then finally, I like to add lyrics and any kind of finishing touches to the song. So, and along with song structure, obviously comes near the beginning with the chords. So we'll talk about that all afterwards. But for right now, if you want to just listen to the song, that's great. But if you want to also think about kind of how inspiration leads into this, and feel free to write down your own ideas for inspiration as I play this. And yeah. watched you begin, I saw your father, too old as he is barely a man. Oh, but I'll always watch over you, even though I don't like you. I don't want you to cry. And I have the land and sea, but it's lonely up here in the sky. Do you believe it, that our days of misjudgment are past? How do you believe it when you yourself are only a man? You're only a man. You are only a man. But I'll always watch over you, even though I don't like you. I don't want you to cry. And I have the land and sea, but it's lonely up here in the sky. Sweet. So, I hope you enjoyed that song. But also, as the inspiration comes from the book, I made it all about the goddess and kind of her feelings. And this kind of brings me into, I was trying to figure out what to, like how to explain writing songs, because it's very dependent on who you are, and everybody writes songs differently. So I don't expect this to be, a perfect fit for anybody. But I do hope it's inspirational and like maybe leads you somewhere. But I encourage you to write differently than the structure I'm going to give, because it's not going to be the natural way for everybody. But anyway, when I was thinking about how best to go about describing the steps, because when I'm writing songs, I don't always think about it as steps. It kind of just like, after a while, I've been writing songs for almost 10 years now, and it just kind of starts to become a very quick process. I mean, it's like anything that you practice for a long time. You don't think about it as much. But when I really break it down, I think of songs in kind of two categories. And there's songs that walk you through like chronological stages. Like if any of you guys are Hamilton fans, in Hamilton and a lot of musical theater, there are chronological songs where they'll tell you like, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then like plot twist, and then this happened. And then there's other songs that are more descriptive and like, I don't know why the only thing I can think of is like a deep dive. And so that can be like reminiscing on like past love or like one experience or a person. So I hope that some of you have watched Hamilton or listened to Hamilton, because this is a very good example. But in one of the songs, Helpless, the Schuyler sisters are talking about Alexander Hamilton, and he's so handsome and stuff. And his future wife met him at this ball, basically, and it takes you through the night and like what they say to each other and stuff. And it always comes back to the chorus, which is like helpless, and but every time it's in a different context because it moves through the different stages of the night. Whereas there's a different song called Theodosia, which is so beautiful, and it's about Hamilton and Alexander Burr talking about their children that have just been born, and they're kind of like describing this like new fatherly care that they've like never felt before, and it's more of like a descriptive like love song rather than like this is how this story went. And so when I tend to write songs. If you're into more like country music, a lot of those are kind of like chronological as well as folk songs. Like take you through the night, this is what happened, like this is how we ended up here. And a lot of, I mean, it really depends because you're going to find anything in any genre. But I think if you think of more like pop songs, those are more like kind of like descriptive, like, oh, I love this guy, let me tell you about him, like verse 1, verse 2, blah, blah, blah. And that kind of takes me into the song that I just played. I consider this to be a descriptive song. So it takes you through, in the first verse, it's talking about these foolish men. They don't know what they're doing. Then it brings you to the chorus. I'll always watch over you. Even though I don't like you, I don't want you to cry. Next verse, still talking about the men down on earth. And then it brings you back to the chorus. And so it is, I do consider it to be linear to some extent, but it's not chronological, if that makes sense. And I know that's a little confusing, so I really do encourage questions if you have any. I'm reading it on my screen, so let me know. And also feel free, if you have any inspiration that you'd like to share, I would love to share that with everyone too. So yeah. So that kind of brings me into song structure. And I'm sure that some of you know some basic song structure. Whether, I don't know if any of you guys did musical theater, you already write songs, or if you just know it from listening to music. But I'm going to walk you through it a little bit just in case there's someone who doesn't. So when I talk about a chorus, and this is probably, verses and choruses are the most common elements in songs, at least that I see. And I use them in, I think, every song. And a chorus is basically also called the refrain, and that's the part that you sing over and over again. So in this song, this is the chorus. I'll always watch over you, even though I don't like you. I don't want you to cry. And I have the land and sea, but it's lonely up here in the sky. So I play that 2 or 3 times throughout the song, and that's kind of the, it's like not necessarily the most important part of the song, but maybe the most important part of your message. Like, it's the part that, like in any story, if you're talking about the Iliad, it's like kind of the meat. It's what you want the audience to take away from your song, or what is most important to you in the song. Whereas the verse is what's kind of moving you through the stages of the song and kind of developing the story, whether it is a chronological song, as we talked about, or like more of a descriptive song like this one. And that's the, oh, you foolish man. All that up until the chorus is the verse. And then the third element that I use most often is called a bridge. I think they also call it a middle eight. I'm not sure if that's just a British thing or not, but I have never heard that before until this year, and I was like, what is a middle eight? And it's a bridge. And basically, I like to think of that as the kind of like stand it on its head, like what is this song really about? And so in this song, for me, it was like feminism. Like, this is a feminist song. It's about goddesses. They're super powerful. And so in this, the bridge is, do you believe it, that our days of misjudgment are past? How do you believe it when you yourself are only a man? You're only a man. You are only a man. And so that happens generally once in the song, sometimes twice if you find a really, really funky song. But and that is kind of, it can be like big picture, like in this song, or it can be like plot twist. Like for some reason, I was thinking of songs as like fairy tales, and I don't know why, but the one that popped into my head was Hansel and Gretel. So Crystal, maybe your 9-year-old daughter will connect with this. Not sure how much of a fan she is with fairy tales, but I love them. And anyway, that's obviously, if you made that a song, it'd be a chronological song, like Hansel and Gretel walking through the woods, they find a witch's house, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I think the bridge of that song would be they realize that the witch is just trying to fatten them up so she can eat them, and so they stuff her in the oven, which is really dark. But that would be kind of the bridge, because it's like, oh my gosh, plot twist, this is weird. Or you could also write a bridge that's more like, we really need to we need to love children, they just wanted love, or something that makes it like kind of zooms out of the picture. And again, this is all open to everyone's interpretation. Like there's no one way to write a bridge or to write a song, but those are kind of the ways that I think about it, I guess. And also I generally tend to change up the chords and maybe even the rhythm of my song, so that it kind of makes it gives a little break in the beat that makes people pay attention a little bit. And that kind of leads me into talking about chords and rhythm, which tend to go together. And so when I sit down to write a song, I sit down with my guitar. I like to do it all in one time, because if when I'm inspired, if I sit down and write half a song, the next time I'm inspired, I'm going to sit down and write another half of a different song. So for me, I have to sit down and do the whole thing at once, or I'm going to never finish it. And that, I have half a songbook full of unfinished songs, and that can be fun when you're not inspired to go sit down and finish those up, but I don't recommend it because I'm a big procrastinator, which means I don't really get around to it. So I like to sit down. I have a notebook right in front of me. I set up my phone on recording so that I can, oh, you do love fairy tales, Crystal, that's good. I set my iPhone on recording with the voice memo app, and I just record basically the whole thing, which can be a pain because then it's like you have to go back and find the good spots. But the worst thing is sitting down and writing a song, and you're like, I'll remember it, and I still do this all the time, even through years of I've been doing this method. And I'll still sit down and be like, I'm going to remember it, and then I sing something awesome, and it rhymes, and the flow is perfect, and then I'm feeling it so much, so I just keep going, and then as soon as I know I forgot the best part of the song, I'm like, ah. So, was that an earthquake? Yeah, I highly recommend having notebook and recording device because I find both to be very, very helpful. So when I am sitting down to write a song, like I said, I start with inspiration, and so for this song, my inspiration was feminism, and it was also goddesses, because I find that one of my newest writing hacks is when I personally don't have anything going on, I just think, what if I were a goddess? I'd be doing whatever I wanted right now, and then I just write about whatever the goddess is doing, and that's pretty fun. So I also recommend that little technique. But this is the first time that I had written a goddess song. I have 2 goddess songs now. I plan on writing more goddess songs because they're really fun. But I sat down and I was like, I want this song to be kind of melancholy in a way. It's not necessarily sad, but as you can see, in the chorus, she's like, I'll always watch over you, even though I don't like you. I don't want you to cry. So it's kind of about the sadness down on earth, but also she then says, I have the land and sea, but it's lonely up here in the sky. So she's all by herself up there in the sky, which is not how the book goes. If you've read the Iliad, they're always fighting with each other, doing something. But in my head, this goddess was kind of isolated, and she had all this power, but she didn't want to just use it to. It wasn't something to be trifled with, I guess. So she's still gonna help man out and like comfort them and stuff, but she's like, I don't really care about you that much. Oh, thank you. This is one of my favorite songs that I've written, and I actually wrote a sequel to it, which is my other goddess song, so maybe I will play that one near the end too. But anyway, so I was going off those two ideas of kind of like loneliness, but also like power. Like I can do whatever I want, really, but I'm also like really isolated and alone, which kind of fits in with us right now, actually. This is like the most social interaction I've had in a while. But so going off of that, I kind of wanted to choose some chords that were like, I didn't want it to be in a major key, and when I separate songs, again, very broadly into sad and happy, if I'm writing a sad song, it'd be like minor chords. This isn't a minor chord, and I'll show you guys some like very easy chords that I have used if you're not familiar with guitar that you should be able to pick up pretty quickly in both sad and happy. So then on the other hand, we have happy songs, which then you use, major chords. Like this definitely feels a lot more happy than this. Right? And that kind of comes into rhythm as well. But first off, I'll show you guys a few chords that I find are really easy. And also, life hack is that you can make up basically anything. Even if it sounds so bad, if you do it the right way, it'll sound like really cool, and people will be like, "Oh my gosh, they're a genius." So, and another life hack on this is that I never learned to read music or music theory. So if you're looking for music theory class, you should talk to someone else. I know some very basics, but mostly I just learned chords. I started playing songs, and then I started writing my own songs and making up chords. So I will show you some of the made-up chords too, because they tend to be easier because I don't like to play super crazy fancy chords. Like this is like, I've only been able to play this kind of stuff, like bar chords, for like a year because my hands finally grew a little bigger. But for most of my like songwriting career / life, I have played more like 2-finger chords, and they sound really cool because they're like, I don't really know what they are, but they're like suspended, distended, I don't know. They're not normal, but it makes it sound. Do you know what kind of like suspended, diminished? Yeah. I don't know. There's minor chords, there's major chords, and then there's a bunch of fancy stuff in between. And the fancy stuff is my favorite, especially when you make it up. So when we're talking about happy songs, and I personally find happy songs a lot harder to write because for me they always end up, I get way too enthused, and they end up just being a little like too hokey, or like I don't know. It's an added challenge to write a happy song that is still like meaningful, I guess, to me. So hopefully you don't struggle with that as much as I do, because it's when I show up, the songs are slow and sad. But if you want to write a happy song, which I highly recommend, because when you hit a great happy song, it feels great. You got your A chord, which is just like this. I'm going to tilt my guitar so you can see it a little better. I've got a little lag on my video. But it's your 3 fingers like this, and you can look up a chord chart too, which will help you see it easier. But this is A, and D is pretty easy too. Just 3 fingers all down here, and then E. And I'd say those are probably the 3 easiest major chords. Probably the ones I use the most too. And then if you're getting into little sad stuff, you can take those and basically make them all minor with a small adjustment. So A goes from this to this, and basically you're just switching this bottom finger to this C note. And I can't tell you theory-wise why that does that, but it makes it sound sad. And then D minor is actually a little bit harder, but one of my favorite chords and very easy to play is E minor, which is just, you take, this is your E chord, and you just take that finger off. So it's just 2 fingers right at the very top of your guitar there. You got your open E string open. And yeah, and if you play like you can make a song just with 2 chords, and I've done it, and it can be good. So I would not get discouraged by not knowing an instrument. And obviously you can do this with piano too. I'm not a piano whiz, but it can be a little easier to play simple chords on the piano than guitar. But I love the guitar, so I highly recommend using it. Also, I just realized this is a capo, and if you are not familiar with what a capo does, it basically changes the key of your guitar. So if you like to sing songs in a certain range that they're not normally in, like for example, Taylor Swift just released her new album, and I love Taylor Swift, and I was trying to learn the songs, but she sings so low. So a song that she sings here, and this is actually A minor, I might have to sing up here in, this would be A sharp, B, C sharp minor, I think. So this is basically just a tool to help you get more, like a broader range of chords and a broader range of like vocal ranges, if that makes sense. But yeah, anyway, we're going through chords right now. And just a few other easier ones. If you're looking for that kind of like mystical, like mysterious tone, and this is my favorite stuff, like I said, basically just take a finger off of any of your favorite chords, and you'll either get a 7th chord, like this, or you'll get some kind of diminished or suspended or whatever kind of thing like this. And literally any finger, I think. So like take, that was the A chord, let's take the D chord. So there's your D chord right there. If I take the bottom finger off, it sounds a little more like, I don't know, like magical, I guess. Take off that other finger, you got a different sound. Take off that other finger, you got a different sound. And obviously, some of these chords are not going to sound great without a little more modification just because of the way the strings on your guitar are set up. But for the most part, that is one of my favorite things to do when writing songs, is because then you can also do a little riff stuff pretty easily, and it makes you sound a lot more advanced than you might be, like me. That's all just 2 fingers. I'm just going like this. And so you can make stuff sound really complicated and really fancy when it's really not. And that can add a lot of nuance to your songs, I guess. But yeah, that kind of also comes into the polishing part of the song, so I'll probably go over that a little bit more at the end. So second thing I think about when writing songs, along with chords, is rhythm. And so again, if you're writing a happy song, you might want it to be more upbeat, like. And again, those are major chords, which just sounds happier. But you know, that doesn't mean that you can't go like. It really just depends on exactly what mood you're trying to convey. And I really encourage you, it's really just kind of like a mix and match game. Like, these chords are what I'm going to play. Am I going to do a picking pattern? Am I going to do like a strumming or what? And you can, like, any combination of those will make like some very unique mood for your song. And you can change it throughout the song too, which is something that's always very interesting for me to try to do. And the other thing is learning some picking patterns. How old was I? I must have been like 9 or 10 years ago when I learned my first picking patterns, and it was so horrible. I hated practicing them. My music teacher forced me to learn them. Basically, she's like, Ava, you're gonna this is gonna sound so cool when you're good at it, and I'm so glad that I did it because that adds a lot of depth to your song, and it's different mood than it is for strumming. So it's not going to work on every song. You could probably make it work on every song, but I like to try to diversify stuff. But I highly, highly recommend working on a picking pattern like this. Once you get a handle on, if you're left-handed, you're left-handed. If you're right-handed, you're right hand. And just getting it to move in that way, the payoff is huge because once you know this, you can do this. And you can do there's basically an infinite amount of picking that you can do. And this is coming from someone who does, I don't solo. If you told me to play Jingle Bells on my guitar, I'd have to pick it out and listen. And like I said, I don't read music. So this does not, you don't have to become an expert to be able to make stuff sound really cool without too much effort. So yes, and I'm gonna basically just walk you through the simplest kind of picking thing you can do is just a pluck strum. So that would be and like I said, that conveys a certain mood that's different than that. And then if you are willing to go for a challenge, you can write this down, or also this is called Travis picking, so you can also look it up, and I'm sure there's tutorials that are going to be better than this very quick crash course I'm going to give you in it. But basically, it's you pull your second and fifth strings. So those together, then third and fourth, second, fifth, third, fourth, and then you just keep doing that. So yeah, you should look it up because that explanation was not amazing. But anyway, like I said, once you learn one, it's so much easier to learn the others. And even just practicing a few times a week on one chord, or even just like this, it'll be really cool. So when I was writing this song, Up Here in the Sky, I was thinking powerful, I was thinking mysterious and lonely. And so naturally, my forte is to go to the picking patterns because I really love them. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to choose my chords that are a little bit, they're not quite super depressing, but they're a little slow and melancholy. But I'll always watch over you, even though I don't like you. I don't want you to cry. And so right there is this is a minor chord. Start off with a major chord. Then I go to there we go. I'll always watch over you. Major, C, to E minor, even though I don't like you. And this is one of those weird chords I was talking about that I basically just took the D chord and took that bottom finger off. And it probably has some special name, but that kind of gives that little edge to it that makes it sound there's a longing there, there's some kind of mystery. Don't want you to cry. And there's a minor chord again, and that little diddly I do right here is just me taking a finger off the chord and putting it back. So when you break it down, if you wanted to learn something like that, you learn the chords first. So I'd learn C, I'd learn E minor, I'd learn D and A minor, and then work on the picking. And this is actually not Travis picking. I'm sure there's a name for it, but I just call it alternate picking because it's a little easier. You just alternate like these two strings and then these two strings. And if you learn Travis picking, then this will come a lot easier too. So then I'd learn that picking, and then I'd just focus on like this is called a pull off, and this is called a hammer on, and I'm going on a little bit of a tangent here. And if any of you want something that I can like focus in on specifically, if you have a question that goes deeper into something that I'm explaining, or if you're like, okay, I understand, can you move on? That's really good feedback, because this should be tailored to what you guys want. So yeah, just let me know, and I can see here. So we've talked about song structure. Oh, actually, I forgot to say something that that I wrote down. A typical song structure that I write and that you can see in a lot of, especially pop songs, if you listen to those, it would be verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, bridge, chorus. And that is the way that this song is laid out. You got your verse 1, and then I'll always watch over you, blah, blah, blah. Verse 2, that again, chorus. And then it goes into the bridge. And then it comes back into the chorus at the end, and then, yeah. And that's very common. I encourage you, next time you're driving in your car, just turn on the radio and listen to one of the songs and see if you can identify, like, oh yeah, that's the verse. Okay, there's the chorus. Yeah, that's typical. That's the like normal song structure. Other stuff you can do is a lot of like older folk songs are just like verse, 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 or chorus, 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 chorus. Like I think if you know The Water is Wide, I'm pretty sure that's just the same thing over and over again for most of it. And that's pretty common too. And also, if you just like writing verses, if you just want to write the same thing the same way a bunch of times, that totally works. So yeah, let me check the time here. Okay, awesome. So now we're getting into lyrics, which I find to be the most time-consuming and also like changeable part of this songwriting experience. Is that, you know, if everyone sat down in one room and I said, okay, we're all going to write about, you know, one experience we all had, everyone would have a different point of view from that experience. Everyone would write different lyrics. Like, there's just so much. It depends on like a lot, and I think it's the most like fluid part of songwriting is that lyrics are so different. And so I came up with for this song, if you start with the chorus, that might be the easiest thing to just try to write. Is just write a chorus, get the main idea of your song. Like in an essay, this would be your thesis. I know you're not supposed to repeat your thesis a bunch of times, but in songs you do. You repeat it. And so your chorus is that main idea. And so sitting down and writing it, and this song is just 2 lines, and that's really not that much. So I encourage you to just sit down and try to write 2 lines. They don't have to rhyme. But if you want to have a song that's got a hook, which is the part that we get stuck in our head over and over again, like an earworm, the 2 things I came up with to make a hook is 1, have it rhyme, because that'll make it stick in your head more, and 2, make it something relatable. And obviously, I don't think that songwriting is a good thing to just write for other people. I like to write songs for myself, and it's really just a way for me to process my own emotions and, you know, deal with whatever. That's probably why most of my songs are sad, actually. It's because I'm like, I'm sad. I don't want to cry right now, though, so I'm going to write a song instead. And so it's a really good way to, like, get it out of your mind and kind of organized into something you can look at and be like, okay, like, it helps me understand myself more, if that makes sense. And so, yeah. But if you are trying to write a hook, the thing is, relatable songs, whether you mean it to be relatable or you just write it for yourself, they usually end up being relatable. Like I said, I write my songs just to get stuff out, just to either be creative or process my thoughts and feelings. But a lot of the time, I will write something about something totally random, and I'll perform it. And like, adults will come up to me afterwards and be like, that I totally understood what you were saying. Like, I just went through this breakup or whatever. Like, my friend was just really sick or something like that, and it'll just connect with them in a way that I totally did not intend. And I think that's really the beauty of songwriting, is that you know, it applies to everybody in different ways because of our experiences. We can listen to the same song and have totally different takeaways. That's kind of, sometimes I don't like telling people what my songs are about. I mean, often, actually. And people do, they want to know, but also I think that there's something really beautiful in, like, letting people discover it in the context of their own lives, and letting them, like, live with that song being one thing for them and different for yourself. So, yeah. And like I said, if you have any questions about that, feel free to put them up in the chat window. I've been on too many Zoom calls. Like, put it in the chat. Yeah, so, okay, we went over all of this. So we were talking about lyrics. Another thing is, I mean, I like to rhyme my songs, but if you listen to any kind of spoken word or, you know, poetry, you know that a lot of the time it won't rhyme. And there's definitely a beauty in that too, and just, like, kind of like letting your thoughts, not forcing them into, like, a box, and just letting them, you know, be free, like, knowing that it doesn't have to rhyme or sound good. It just has to mean something to you. But if you do like to rhyme, like me, there's absolutely no shame in rhymezone.com. I also have, like, a little rhyme book I should have brought, but it's just like a dictionary, and it just goes through a bunch of words and has rhymes for them. And the other thing is, when you're writing songs, if you're looking for a rhyme and there's nothing that quite works, you can use close rhymes, which is stuff like normally you wouldn't say. I should have thought of an example of this. But, like, normally you wouldn't say them, like, if I said them together, like book, hook, that's a rhyme. Like, that's a solid rhyme. You hear book, hook, it's like, that works. But it's like, let me play my chorus and see if I've got one. No, I don't. It's cry and sky, and that's definitely a rhyme. But basically, what I'm talking about is you've got a word and another word, and if you set them right next to each other, they would not sound like a rhyme. It wouldn't work. But when you've got a little space in between them and you're singing them, your brain kind of tricks it into thinking that it's a rhyme and that it works. And if you look on rhymezone.com, which is something I'm very familiar with, they'll give you rhymes, and then they'll give you, like, close rhymes. And so those usually work. It depends on the way you're saying something, but yeah. So yeah, basically, I actually tend to start with the first verse of a song, because I like to, it's like my first feeling about something. Like, for example, I've been through a few breakups now. I'm almost 18, actually, almost an adult. So that wasn't very related, but I'm just excited about it. But yeah, so anyway, if I just went through a breakup, my first thoughts might be like, man, I'm sad. And so I go and I write a first verse, and it's kind of sad, and it just like gets my emotions going. And then as I'm writing the song, I might be like, oh crap, I'm also a little angry. And so then my second verse might have a little bit of that, like it's a new development on top of my other emotions. And that kind of naturally progresses the song. So I feel like that tends to work pretty well for me. But another thing that you can do is start with the chorus, like I said, because it's like the thesis of your song, the main point. And so when you start with a chorus, it kind of it can center you on your on the organization of your song. And I find organization to be very important for me because it's something that I lack in day-to-day life. So in my songs, I like them to make sense organizationally. And so, like when you're writing an essay, you want to write or maybe you don't, but I like to write the thesis first, and then I write my topic sentences. And that way I know, like, okay, I'm not going to go off on a tangent about whatever on this essay. I am going to talk about, I'm going to say my main point, and then I'm going to say each of the bullets of my main point, and then, and I think of a song that way, which is kind of a very, like, analytical way to think of it, and it doesn't have to be that, and it's not always that either. Sometimes I write songs that are just all over the place, and that can be really fun too. Actually, I might play one of those in a little bit here and just see if you guys can like break it down into components. But lost my train of thought. But yeah, you can basically arrange stuff any way you want. So if it helps you to start with a verse, that's good, and I find that's a good starting point. Chorus also works. I've never started with a bridge. That's actually an interesting challenge. So I like to try to do stuff differently because it gets me inspired in different ways. So if any of you guys write a song and you start by writing the bridge, you should send it to me because I think that would be a really cool thing to try. But I'm going to play this song one more time, and hopefully with all of this new stuff I've rattled away, you can kind of think about how the song is broken down and identify, like, okay, she's in the verse now, and I see how her lyrics connect to the theme, and like think about the rhythm and the chords, and I don't want this to seem like when you're writing a song you have to think about all of these things like a very bullet thing. If that helps, then I say go for it. But for me, it happens more fluidly. I just find that thinking about it and talking about it kind of helps me understand my own process, first of all, but hopefully helps inspire you guys as well to, try something from one of these perspectives at least. But yeah, I'm going to play the song over again, and then I'll play one more. I'll play my kind of all over the place song, and I guess see if if you guys can have a little challenge of breaking it down. And yeah, I'm probably going to be done after that. So if you have any questions, please put them in there and I can address them before I'm done. But also, I will put it in here actually. But if my Facebook page is connected to this, so Facebook is a good way to contact me, and so is my Instagram, which is at Ava Earl Music. I just sent that in the texty thing, I hope. So yeah, and if any of you guys end up writing a song based on this, I would really love, if you want to share it, I'd love to feature it on my Instagram page. I have not too many followers, but I think that'd be a really fun thing to do. And I'd love to showcase anything you guys make. So, doesn't mean you have to share it, but if you want to, I'd love to do that. Oh, thank you, Charlie. Charlie has put the actual link, which is more helpful than just my handle name. Okay, so this is Up Here in the Sky, part 2. And yeah, try to break it down in your head, and hopefully it inspires you a little bit. off key, sorry. They made the dirt you crave, the men you enslave and call your own. Oh, but I'll always watch over you, even though I don't like you. I don't want you to cry. And I have the land and sea, but it's lonely up here in the sky. And you think yourself so wise with your bright young eyes. Oh, they have seen nothing compared to mine. I watched you begin. I saw your father, too old as he is barely a man. Oh, but I'll always watch over you, even though I don't like you. I don't want you to cry. And I have the land and sea, but it's lonely up here in the sky. Do you believe it, that our days of misjudgment are past? How do you believe it when you yourself are only a man? You're only a man. You are only a man. Oh, but I always watch over you, even though I don't like you. I don't want you to cry. And I have the land and sea, but it's lonely up here in the sky. So sweet. And I messed up a little bit on that, so if you were like, that's different, that's why. But hopefully that was helpful for you, and it kind of got me thinking about when you're polishing a song, sometimes I like to mess with the dynamics of it a little bit, so if you go back and listen to that later, you might notice like some parts I'm singing louder than others, and you know, some parts I'm like, you're only a man. Like it sounds more like speaking than talking in some parts. And all of that kind of like inflection and like, I don't know what other fancy voice words to use there, but all of the dynamics that you bring to that just kind of add to your performance of a song, if performance is something that you want to do with your music. And I encourage it because I find that, you know, like I said, music brings people together. It helps them. But I also totally recognize using music as a tool just for yourself, and I do that all the time. So, yeah. All right, to finish up, I'm going to play this last song, which is also, I'd consider it to be a descriptive song. And honestly, I can't tell you, there's not a single thing that it's about. It's kind of about a bunch of things. But I like it to mean something different for everybody, like I said. So this song has a lot of, the structure's kind of weird. The choice of rhythm changes throughout the song. So this is kind of an example of how you can make a big like smorgasbord of, you know, whatever you like, and just put it in a song and make it still sound good. Thank you, Alexis. Yeah, so that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, using part of, or trying to emphasize parts of the story with your volume. And since you can do that with lyrics, you can do it with your performance. You can also, you know, I tend to dance on stage a little bit, and I'm not a good dancer. By dancing, I mean like I go like this. So there's all kinds of like ways that you can emphasize a story, and it can, like I said, just be for yourself, or if you're playing for an audience, you know, that always makes things, at least for me, more fun. So, yeah, okay, this song is called Masterpiece, and yeah, so listen for that stuff. It's all over the place. Oh, crap. See, I do this a lot, too. Wrong key. There we go. I truly love this, of that I'm sure. The night is almost quiet, but for our bodies moving force, this walk is blinding. That star in the sky is too bright to be celestial, too still to be a flight. I'm tired of realizing that beautiful things aren't real. I make hypotheses, you look at me for appeal. I guess it's no big deal. Does that make you feel better? Am I a work of art, or are you looking at the wrong angle? Come over here, get on my good side. Let's see if I can entertain you. Am I a masterpiece, or just someone who won't shut the hell up? I tried to conform to the standards, but in the end, it doesn't matter much. I watch you run like you're not in it for the win, like the wind doesn't help you to recognize your sin. I know you're scared to breathe it all in, my dear. Calm yourself, it will begin. If you see an angel, I must be in the wrong light. Oh, sometimes I am your star, but others, you just don't see me right. Are you successful? How do you define such a thing? I tried to conform to the standards. Yeah, I'm singing the wrong lyrics right now. I watch you run like you are not in it for the wind. Did you forget for just a second how this world was built on sin? I know you're scared to breathe it all in, my dear. Calm yourself, it will begin. like you are in it for the wind. Don't forget how the wind can help you turn your back on sin. I know you're scared, scared to breathe it all in. My dear, calm yourself. My dear, calm yourself. My dear, calm yourself. It will begin. So hopefully you can see that is all over the place. Pretty sure there's some very sure, different structures happening. I think I gave up on labeling each part of the song and I just did like A, B, C, D. So you can really go crazy with everything that you're willing to put together. Oh, thank you, Danny. So yeah, I mean, that's my workshop. And if we go over what we accomplished during this time, just one more time, we talked about song structure and inspiration, learning to put different elements of a song together, like verse, chorus, etc., bridge. I should add, you can also throw in like pre-choruses and stuff, and you'll see that in lots of pop songs too. If you can't tell, I listen to pop songs. You can start with writing the verse, or you can start with the chorus, wherever you want to go from there. Chords and rhythm depend on your mood, the mood of your song, or I should say the mood of your song depends on the chords and rhythm that you choose. Major chords tend to correspond to happy songs, while minor tends to give a sad element. In that, taking away any finger on a chord, I encourage you to learn one chord and then just take off one finger and see how it sounds. Chords and rhythm, different picking patterns. You should try picking patterns if you want to, because I love them. Lyrics, focusing on the mood again and what you're trying to accomplish. Chorus is like your thesis, and then polishing your song off, so like fluctuation in your voice, if you like doing vibrato and stuff, or if you are going to maybe whisper some parts of your song. You can also give different inflections with your guitar, like how if you strum like this, it's different than like that kind of strum. So dynamics, getting louder, getting softer, any kind of funky guitar stuff. And then we talked a little bit about performing too. So yes, my Instagram is in the chat. You guys all have my Facebook. I'm on the Facebook page. So if you have any follow-up questions at any point in time, I would really love to answer them for you. And like I said earlier, if this helps you write a song and you want to share it, you can just share it with me. I would love to listen to it and look at it. Or if you would like, I can also put it on my Instagram page, and I think that'd be really cool. But I understand if you guys don't want to share. And so basically, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your service, and I hope that this helps you write a song. So thank you guys so much.
Google Fi, a phone plan by Google. It's easy to switch to Fi from the comfort of your home. Purchase a new phone or use the phone you have. Then set up your phone plan from home in just minutes. Sign up at fi.google.com.